I'm Melissa, an educator with the New Bedford Park's Recreation and Beaches Full Steam Ahead program. Today we're going to go look at some birds. Come along with me. We use our senses. Some of the senses we use are sight and hearing. If I'm familiar with the song, then I already know what bird is making that song. In this case, the song was of a robin. And I don't even need to see the robin to know what it is, because I know that sound and what makes that sound. Just like if you hear a train, you know that it's a train without even seeing it. But sometimes I don't know what bird is making the song that I hear. Sometimes I use technology. There's an app that you can use that will record the sound and guess what kind of bird makes it. The other way that you can identify the bird is by using your sight. You can either use your own eyes, or if you have binoculars, they can help you to see the bird when it's further away or higher up in a tree. So today we heard some sounds that I was not familiar with, and we used the binoculars and identified the birds as woodpeckers. So that was very exciting. And the way we determine this is by looking at their size, their shape, and what patterns are on the bird. And if we still don't know what it is ourselves, we can look it up using books or applications, or with adults' help, the internet. As you're walking, you might hear the birds make a specific sound, something a little sharper, like doop, doop, doop. Something that sounds like a really short call, but it's a little loud. That, the bird is letting the other birds around it know that we're coming. It's sending out a warning call. When you hear this and you know there are birds around that you want to see, that's time to stop. There's the call. And if you stop and stay still and get really quiet and wait, the bird will start making other calls instead of the warning call. And you'll get to hear a lot of other things that it does. Many birds make many different kinds of calls. Some birds just make a few calls. In this case, our robin is making a very nice song above us. Let's go see what else we can find. When we're watching birds, a good thing to notice is what's happening around us. What's the weather like? What's the time of year? Because when we look up birds, some birds are specific to different regions. In Massachusetts, we have certain birds that come that are from all over New England. We have birds that are local, and we have birds that migrate or travel from different parts of the globe to come here. And some of the birds come in the winter, and some of them come in the summer, and some of them come in the spring. So it's important to note if you're keeping track of your birds and you're keeping a journal when you're watching those birds and what they're doing. Maybe they're perching, or maybe they're going around a tree, or maybe they're eating some kind of creature from the bottom of a pond, like ducks do. It's really good to notice things like that with bird behavior, because then it tells you not just the kinds of habits the bird has, but when a good time would be to come back and look for that bird again. So if it was really snowy, probably not going to see robins out on the grass. One good way that we can remember what kinds of birds that we see is by keeping a nature journal. And a lot of people say to me, but Melissa, I can't draw. I don't know how to draw birds. There's a really simple way that you can draw a bird that I can show you. Let's check it out. So whether you have a piece of paper or a notebook or something printed from a website or something from your school, if you want to write down what you saw, the best thing to do, even if you just have a pad of paper like this, is use your hand. I have with me a marker. I use a marker when I'm in the field and there's no tables or rocks that I can draw on. And earlier I saw a bird, so I'm going to try to remember what it looked like and then log it in my book. But first, I'm going to trace my hand. Pretty much everybody can trace their hand. You don't want to go right into the fingers. You just want to make a shape around the hand, almost like you're doing an outline of a mitten. And that's a basic bird shape. And then you can add the tail. Some bird tails have a fork. Some of them have bumps like the top of a heart upside down. And some of them are just flat. So I think mine had 2 segments that came down like that. And then you just wing shape. My bird had 2 colors. And it separated the body to 2 parts. And my bird, actually, I made a small mistake. My bird had a white ring around its eye, and it was mostly black or dark gray. And I don't have colors right now, so what I can do is I can say that this was red or orange. Most birds have 3 toes. He was on the ground and not perching on a branch, so I have his feet flat. You don't have to be an incredible artist to make an outline of your hand and put on some parts. I got my hand dirty. I'll wash it when I get home. So, the important things to look at when you're identifying a bird is their parts, and that would be their head, sometimes called a crown, and then their back. I mean, there's lots of parts, but it's the head, the back, the tail, the belly, the chest, and the neck or the throat, and the beak. You look at what the colors are. I think that was a little piece of plant that fell on me. And then if you don't have the colors with you, you can label them. When you get home, because I came out and did this the other day, same bird, I wrote all of the things. So the throat, breast, and belly were red, and the beak was light yellow, and there was a ring around the eye. And this was all grayish black, and then I colored it in when I got home. And then I got a book. I have lots and lots and lots of bird books. This one is an Audubon's handbook, which is a group that studies birds exclusively, lots of birds. And then this is another one that I have. It's a smaller one if I just want to throw it in my pocket. Or if I'm on a kayak and I need something waterproof, I have this one. This one doesn't have as much information as the books do, but it gives a really good, quick idea of what we're looking at. And what I see, my bird, when I remembered it, looks like this bird, the American robin. It's got the orange-red belly, oh fly. It's got the grayish-black back, yellow beak, and the white ring around his eye. It's very interesting to notice that a young robin looks very different from the adult robin. A young robin might have more tan in the top feathers and some splotches or specks on the breast and chest part. Other birds have different kinds of coloring. Some of them have different coloring depending on what kind of time of year it is. Oh, I've got the robin. And this one is seen very frequently. This is a starling. And a starling in the winter, or if it's a juvenile, can look very different from when it's an adult. You often see these in large groups or flying around in what's called those bird clouds. That's called a murmur. And a lot of times when they're on the ground, they're making all kinds of noises. They have lots of different calls. But it's difficult to tell when they're in the winter or when they're young that it's a starling, because the beak is completely different colored and the feathers are different colored. So it's good to have a book to refer to that has the different colors of the birds listed in there so you can see the difference. Another interesting thing to put in your journal is what your bird was doing when you saw it. Sometimes birds are just walking around or flying or perching, but other times they're doing something very interesting. In this case, when I saw my robin, he was running around on the ground and pulling up worms to eat. And that was a lot of fun to see. He would pick it up and run out and just gobble it up. So I'm writing down today that it is Tuesday, and it is May 19th. It's about 12:30 in the afternoon, and it is windy and sunny. So if I want to go out and see robins again, and I look at my journal, I know that they're going to be out around this time, and they're still out in the middle of the day, because some birds are more active in the morning, some birds are more active towards the evening. But robins are out pretty much all the time. And they didn't really mind that it was windy. Some birds don't like to be out when it's too windy. So if I want to come out here and see a robin again, I can look at my journal and know that they'll be out in these conditions. Earlier, we saw a woodpecker on the tree. And then we saw that there were 2 woodpeckers on the tree. That was a really good thing because these woodpeckers were a little bit different. So when we are looking them up, there are a lot of woodpeckers that had the same kinds of markings. It did not have a big red head or a large beak like these woodpeckers, but it did have red on its head. It did not have red in the front of its head like these woodpeckers. And it had more red than this woodpecker. So we determined that the woodpecker that we saw was a downy woodpecker. And it's interesting to note, because we saw both the male and the female, that the female has no red and the male does. We also look at how big it was, and the book says that it's sparrow-sized woodpecker, which our woodpecker was a very small woodpecker. It wasn't larger like the robin or very large like a crow. It was smaller like a sparrow. Sparrows are usually seen in almost every backyard, and they're about, let me see. Well, this one can get up to be about 6.5 inches, so it's a pretty good sized bird. But it was wonderful to see the woodpeckers just spinning around one tree, getting all kinds of bugs and flitting about with one another.
All right, folks, Channel 95 is running old classic movies. Now, there's 2 reasons to watch this. 1, they got Moxie. 2, I told you so.
Listen to Clyde and watch classic movies on Channel 95. A new double feature premiere every Saturday night at 9.
Are these real?
The best quality.
You mean they're fake?
Only a few dollars.
Only a few dollars.
Only a few dollars. Only a few dollars.
Only a few dollars.
It's not only a few dollars. Counterfeit goods take away jobs, and many are tied to violence and crimes, including child labor, drugs, and gangs. You have the power to stop it. Know the real cost. Don't buy counterfeits.
When it's time for lunch, a sandwich is a quick and easy choice. And with the right ingredients, it can be good and good for you. So I'm here today to see who can build the ultimate sandwich. All right, when the time is up, our judges will give you their scores. Ready, set, go! Okay, Jason starts out with a multi-grain roll. Ooh, Allison stuffing her pita with, yes, spinach, a great source of iron. Jason isn't skipping on the protein, adding plenty of smoked turkey, just like Allison's putting the finishing touches with crispy red bell peppers for a dose of vitamin A. Time! It looks like we have a tie. We'll need to call in our special guest referee.
Now these are what I call quick, delicious lunches. Whole grain breads, a whole variety of ingredients. There are so many different ways to build delicious, healthy sandwiches. These 2 get high marks in every category. I'd say you're both winners. America.
Let's get healthy together.
New Bedford Cable Network. Public, educational, and government access. Channel 95 is public access. 9 is educational access. Channel 18 is government access. New Bedford Cable Network. We're more than you know us for.
Hi, I'm Taya Leone, and you're watching New Bedford Cable Network. Good for you.
Another useful tool that you can use to identify birds are apps. One of the apps is called BirdNet, and what this does is it records sound. Now, unfortunately, we have a lot of wind today, so we're not getting any bird sound here. If we did, we could isolate the part where the sound is and then analyze it. If there was a bird there, then it would tell you. But all it did was record my voice, so it said it was a human. Another app is called Merlin, and that is put out from Cornell Labs. And it asks, where did we see the bird? I put in my zip code. Yes, New Bedford. Today, yes. So it's paying attention to where we saw the bird and when we saw the bird. Next, what size was the bird? So this shows you that even the apps will ask you about size, place, and when you saw the bird. Our bird was sparrow-sized. Our birds were black, gray, white, and a little red. Will it let us do more? Nope. We'll take the gray off and put on red. And it was in the trees. So it asks you what the bird was doing. So behavior is important. A sparrow is one of the birds, that's the option, but what we saw was actually the downy woodpecker. And they've got the sound. If I turn up my media. So you can hear what it sounds like. Another app is the North American Birds app. And this one's a more simplified app. It uses pictures so that if you see a bird, like our American robin, you can then hear its sounds. So using these three apps, one to check the sound of the bird, another to play you the sound of the bird that you see, and the other one that lets you look up the bird by size, shape, color, where you saw it, and when you saw it, and what it was doing, are very good to help you to identify birds that you see. Very exciting thing that happened to me the last time I was at this park was a large bird flew down, and I thought it was a bird of prey. So I used this identification card, and I noticed it was not a hawk or an eagle. It was very large. And so I kept looking at it, and I noticed it had a red head and very big wings. and I determined it was a turkey vulture. This turkey vulture isn't usually seen at Brooklawn Park, and it looks like this. Turkey vultures eat things usually that are carrion or dead, and I started looking around to see what could have brought this turkey vulture to the park, and I saw a dead fish on the ground. And that made me wonder how it got there, because we're not near the water, very close. I mean, you know, we can drive to the water, but we're not right next to it. And the fish that I saw, we don't have them in our streams. So after asking some friends, they told me that some ospreys have been flying from the ocean towards the woods. And sometimes they'll drop fish that they catch. So the ospreys accidentally left a fish that became dinner for the turkey vulture. So that was a very interesting thing that I saw the last time I was here. If you like to do things in nature, then you should go check out our website that you see below at Parks, Recreation, and Beaches. So it was wonderful looking at some birds with you today. I'm Melissa from the Bedford Parks, Recreation, and Beaches Full Steam Ahead program, and I'll see you next time.
Maybe not possible for you, but I've been practicing.
Step back and give me the rock.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
1, 2, 11. You know it's harder when people are watching.
Hey, you know, 11's not that bad. All you need are a few pointers.
Thank you. Are you a free throw expert?
Well, no, not really, but I do know excellent teamwork when I see it. It's so much easier to get active and live healthier when your friends are there to motivate you with a little friendly competition.
Now let's get this game started. Oh, she's going for the hook shot. Hook shot. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
America.
Let's get healthy together.